Hello, everyone. So I hate that we have to do this again, that we are online learning, but I hope you stick with me as we go through this video, go over some stuff about Animal Farm, my expectations for you and your tasks today, and also some instructions if you have further questions that we can go through. I hope you all had an absolutely fantastic break and that you are excited to get back into school. If you're a senior, you have very limited days left in English 4 CP, so that should be exciting for you. I apologize to my juniors, you're stuck with me in just a little bit longer. But seniors, you're almost there. We just have to get through the last stuff for this class and then we get to move on. I apologize for the lighting. I am recording this video as the sun literally sets. So we will go through this rather quickly. Hopefully you won't have too much to watch today from all your classes and you can get working on some of the stuff that's been assigned to you. So first things first, we're going to talk about Animal Farm chapters 6 through 8. This is what you were supposed to be reading on that day before break and now this day after break. I'm not asking for you to have completely finished reading chapter 6 through 8 today. That is something that you're going to have to do before your quiz next class period, though. So please make sure that you get this chapter 6 through 8 stuff, this reading done. This presentation is meant to help you understand some of the things that are happening in chapter 6 through 8, just to talk about some of the major high points. But in order to be successful in that quiz, you really do have to read all of chapter 6 through 8. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is talk about a summary and overview of some of the important things that we see in chapter 6 through 8 of Animal Farm. So first things first is chapter 6. Now, at the end of chapter 5, Snowball is driven out of Animal Farm. Napoleon full-on takes control and starts blaming Snowball for almost everything that has went wrong and will continue to go wrong on Animal Farm. Snowball is made into this figure, this mysterious figure that has led all of the other animals astray, and now they're supposed to put all of their faith into Napoleon. Remember, this is this allegory for the Russian Revolution. Napoleon is Joseph Stalin, and Snowball was Leon Trotsky. That still maintains that historical context there. Stalin, when he took power, exiled Leon Trotsky, and then kind of used him as a fear tactic. Remember one of those propaganda techniques that we talked about? One of the, like a fear tactic as to why you should fall in line, why you should do what Stalin was saying, because Leon Trotsky's out there. And if you believe in what he says, it's not going to be good. So in chapter 6, we have the beginnings of this construction of the windmill. Remember, Napoleon has now taken the windmill idea from Snowball and said, it is my idea. I came up with it all along. And the whole time, the windmill, that was me. Then they start building this windmill. We have this introduction of Mr. Whymper. Mr. Whymper is this person who's coming in to help Napoleon with the finances of Animal Farm. Remember at the beginning, when they first established these amendments, the animals were not supposed to interact or work with the humans. Remember, all people who walk on 2 legs are bad. All animals, 4 legs, are good. Now we see Napoleon starting to be associated with these humans. All the other animals take a second and go, but I thought that we weren't supposed to talk to these humans and work with these humans. And Napoleon says, oh, silly, that was before. You misinterpreted that. Now we can. Now we can do a little bit with the humans. You've just forgotten. Now, that was never actually a rule. So we start to see this corruption of the pigs as the pigs start to take more and more control. One of the big things we see in these chapters are the fact that they move into the farmhouse. Remember, the farmhouse was supposed to be dedicated to this sort of museum, a place where they can go in and look at how the humans used to interact, but now the pigs have moved in there. They actually change one of the amendments that no animal should sleep in a bed, or one of the laws, no animal should sleep in a bed, and now it is no animal shall sleep in a bed with sheets. And that clarifying quality, the with sheets, is still setting it apart from what the humans did, because technically all animals sleep in a bed, so it's okay. So the pigs are really taking over. They're starting to be a little bit more corrupt, and all of that builds towards what really happens in chapter 7, which is pretty brutal on the part of these pigs and Napoleon. Then we have this horrible storm that comes in. It knocks down the windmill, this thing they've been working so hard to build, and Napoleon says, it was Snowball. Snowball did all of it. He blames everything on Snowball because he isn't there anymore. He's using that fear tactic, saying Snowball was the one who did all of this, who broke into the farm, blew or destroyed this windmill in order to sabotage Animal Farm. This windmill collapses, and they try to cover it up from everybody else, but they spread the rumors that it is Snowball. And the other animal or the other farms surrounding them don't necessarily believe that. Then we have, like I just mentioned, this continuing blame placed on Snowball for everything that goes wrong, and we see these 7 commandments start to change. And you'll notice that, and what we've kind of already talked about, they blame a lot of it on the animal's memory, and that's why it's changing, is because the animals just simply don't remember the way it used to be. And then we move into chapter 7. It's this continued blame of Snowball for everything that goes wrong, but that leads to this high point of this horribleness of Napoleon, which is his purges, as he starts to kill other animals, tortures them until they confess to believing in Snowball and work and being on the side of Snowball, even if necessarily they weren't. He just tortures them to the point where they confess anyway, and then he kills them, full on murders them, pigs included. So this is one of those things where he is murdering everyone, where he's really releasing this power of the dogs, these servants to him, to show how brutal that they could be. And this is a horrible time for the other animals on this doing this, but they're still tricked to thinking that this, all of the hens are purged. Like it's a horrible time. But at this time, the outside, we'll talk a little bit more about the historical significance of this and how it fits into this Soviet Union. Want Frederick to know, or any of the other surrounding farms to know, that bad stuff is happening on Animal Farm. They want everything to seem like it's perfect, this utopia of animals. Then, chapter 8, we see several of the amendments being changed. The first one, that no animal should kill another animal, changed to no animal shall kill another animal without cause, meaning that they would have a reason to do it. So if an animal has another reason to kill another animal, like Napoleon had a reason to kill these animals who were working with Snowball, then he can do it. That's fine. We have this question of memory, which we already kind of talked about, is what do these animals remember? And are they even really that sure in it? Are they like, yes, I remember this? The answer is no. These pigs are really taking control of their minds and taking advantage of the fact that they don't have great memories by saying, do you actually remember that? Did that actually happen? And the other animals are like, I don't really know. Then we have this question of who is the enemy? These animals like Boxer and Clover, they don't know. It's hard to pinpoint. They don't see the pigs. They're so naive and so, to use the word the text is stupid, that they just don't understand what's going on. They don't notice that the pigs are becoming more corrupt and that the pigs are taking control of this farm. Then we have this part of chapter 8 where we see this trade balance coming up, where Napoleon is starting to barter the items that they're creating on Animal Farm for money, for this monetary value with these farms around them. And he's kind of turning those farms against them, villainizing some of them, making the other ones seem good, all just for the Animal Farm's advantage. We are seeing Napoleon become a very intelligent pig. He is becoming very human-like. Then he strikes this deal with Mr. Frederick. Mr. Frederick gives him false money. Napoleon says there's probably going to be an attack. He is correct. Mr. Frederick attacks the farm that night. He kills several of the animals, but they are able to drive him back. Boxer is severely injured. Then also later that night, and at the end of chapter 8, the other animals find Squealer covered in paint. He's fallen off of his ladder, and it's revealed there. We know as readers that Squealer has been changing the commandments. He has been changing in the middle of the night, and the other animals still don't put 2 and 2 together. They still don't make that connection. They don't think that anything has gone wrong. One of the other ones that has been changed is no animal shall drink alcohol, it was just changed to no animal shall drink alcohol to excess. And we have that mention of the pigs seeming sick and Napoleon, his health is declining. It's because they drank so much. They were drunk. And the other animals just don't put that together. And then they change the commandment so that they can drink alcohol. They just shouldn't do it to where they feel really sick. So how chapter 6 through 8 kind of ties into this allegory of the Soviet Union, the Russian Revolution. We see Stalin taking power. We see Napoleon, who is this figure standing in for Stalin, taking power and becoming more and more corrupt. He is using these fear tactics, which is what Stalin did. He used the fear of Leon Trotsky to motivate people. Stalin had these purges where he tortured people until they confessed to something they didn't do, they confessed to the fact that they were on the side of Leon Trotsky. So they rule with fear. It's a very successful tactic in making people fall in line. They also shield their country from the outside. That was one of the things we saw with the Soviet Union, is that they really did try to shield themselves from the rest of the world, so that the rest of the world wouldn't really necessarily see what's going on. We also have this collapse of the windmill, this reconstruction of the windmill. It's because during this time, the Soviet Union wasn't known for this amazing infrastructure. They were actually pretty bad at it. They were very much struggling. They were poor. They didn't have enough food. So this animal farm is supposed to be cognizant of that. It's supposed to represent that. The Soviet Union really struggling, but trying to hide that from everybody else, so that nobody would notice, nobody would attack, take advantage of their vulnerability. And then in chapter 8, we see them changing these rules, really questioning who is the enemy here. Nobody knows. Everyone thinks that everyone's an enemy. Nobody can be trusted. And that's really what we saw with the Soviet Union. So that's how this story is still continuing to operate as the allegory. We are seeing in chapter 6 to 8 that the pigs are becoming very corrupt and that they're really taking over the society. It is not this idealist, socialist, communist vision that Old Major had at the beginning of the book. It's completely changed now. The pigs have taken control. It's turned into this totalitarian dictatorship. Okay, so that's the overview of chapter 6 through 8. If you have any questions about what's going on in chapter 6 through 8 as you continue reading, or as you have finished reading, maybe you don't understand something, send me a message on Remind. I should get back to those pretty quickly, and I'll let you know, or I'll get an answer to you as soon as possible. So your tasks, what you are going to do. I ask that you do finish reading chapter 6 to 8 before you even attempt to do these tasks. I don't want them to be bad. I want your answers to be correct. And these are going to help you coming into your quiz. So your task for chapter 6 is you are going to read an article which I have linked on Google Classroom that is called Tsar Putin. And you are going to answer questions on a Google form. So this is going to be one of your lesson checks, making sure that you watched this video, that you know what you need to do. This is a classwork grade. Meaning that you need to complete it in order to get the credit. If you don't complete it in today's class period, so in our time frame, you're going to get a 0. So please make sure that you do this task. Otherwise, I can't mark you as present for today. And then chapter 7 task is you're going to complete the Google form questions. There's just a few questions on chapter 7, and then there's nothing for chapter 8. So just chapter 6 and 7, really those really truly vital chapters in the novel. Both of those are going to be separate classwork grades. Please make sure that you do that. They are really going to help you. I promise it's not busy work. It truly is supposed to help you with your understanding of what's going on at this part of the novel. Then the next thing I want to talk to you about is your essay is due on Wednesday at 11:59. Please, 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 please make sure that you are working on that diligently, that you are coming to a conclusion with that, so that we can get those completed and submitted. Please, 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 please do that. So essays due Wednesday at 11:59. I suggest that if you want someone to look over your essay, you send it to a peer in the class, maybe someone in another one of my classes. Just get your essay read by somebody before you turn it in, because you will make certain mistakes like spelling errors, or maybe you'll screw something up about the story. Other people will notice that. At this point, I'm not going to read over anybody's essay to tell you if you're on the right track or to help you, because we are 2 days away from that due date. I will read over introduction paragraphs, and that is it. I will not read the rest of your essay because we are so close to me grading those. And then the last thing is I need you to prepare for your Animal Farm chapter 6 through 8 quiz, which is going to be next class period. Just something that I wanted to talk about. I already sent the message out, so you are aware of this. It should not be a surprise, is that I moved your Animal Farm test. It is not the same as on the calendar, just because we had these virtual days. I really want us to be together next class period and the class period after that to read chapters 9 through 10 and really wrap up and review the novel. And we're going to do that in class, so there's no more outside reading for you. Fingers crossed if we're in person. A day, your test is Monday, January 11th, and B day, your test is Tuesday, January 12th. That means, seniors, you do need to be here in my class on January 11th and January 12th. Otherwise, we have to find a time for you to make it up, and that's ridiculous. So please, even if you're trying to exempt my exam or use your absences, please, please, please make sure you show up for this test. If it's a 0 on there, it might drag your average down. You might no longer be exempting the exam. So please show up to take your Animal Farm test on these days, okay? So that is the end of what I need you to watch right now. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. Also, if you have any very glaring questions about your essay, like you're struggling, like you're truly struggling with something, or if you're truly struggling with the Animal Farm book and you want to talk to me directly, you just send me a message. We will figure out a time for us to Google Meet. I find that's easier than me just responding to you a bunch, and we can just talk and talk it through. So just send me a message. I'm very open to doing that. Super easy for me to set up for us as well, because it's just a link through Google Classroom, and we can talk about your essay or the novel or anything going forth. Other than that, we're getting very, very, very close to the end of the semester. So please make sure that you are staying on top of your work. I will get your other Animal Farm quizzes. I took a break over break, obviously, a mental break. But I'll get those Animal Farm quizzes in as soon as possible. So you should see where your grade is right now. But you need to be diligently working and getting this work done so that it doesn't drag your average down and that you are staying where you need to stay. Other than that, if you have any questions, please let me know. I hope, fingers crossed, that I will see you all on Wednesday and Thursday. I really don't want to stick with this platform, so I would love to be in person. But I will see you then. Fingers crossed. If you have any questions again, I've said it a bunch of times, but let me know. Thanks, guys.